You want to sample?
7:30, we're going to get ready here. Let me just get this over here. Welcome to the Addison Township Board meeting. Today is February 8th, 2016, and we are having the meeting at the Township offices at 1440 Rochester Road. If we can all stand for the pledge, please. And Ed, you're a veteran?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please stay standing. Dear Lord, now guide us with this meeting, and thank you, God, for giving us this beautiful township offices. Now guide us and guide this board. In the Lord's name we pray. Amen.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order here. Can we have roll call, please?
Yes. Eric Sent.
Here.
Linda Garrett. Present. Ed Brakefield.
Here.
John Beamer.
Here.
Lori Fisher. Here. Bennett. Present. Supervisor Pearson.
Here, so everybody's accounted for. Any announcements?
No.
Any petitions?
No.
Department reports, as usual, are available in my office. Order of business, approval of the agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda as presented. Support.
Any comments? Not hearing any, could we have roll call, please?
John Beamer.
Aye.
Ed Brakefield.
Yes.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Eric Sent.
Yes.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to item number 1. And that'll be the consent agenda.
Yes, before the board this evening are the January 11th, 2016 minutes, bills as paid for January 2016, appointments to the Planning Commission, Phil Marshall and Chuck Sargent, Park Committee, Rod Blazik and David Kosick, resolution for Fire Department schedule of cost, resolution for the SAD District Number 1, Mill Mine, Main, Arch, and Race Streets, an SAD refund, and authorization to turn off streetlights on Peninsula, resolution for the Act 99 installment purchase agreement for the construction and acquisition of the Township Hall.
Okay, any comments from the board? Yes.
I do too.
Okay, for item D, the fire department schedule of costs, I saw that you were going to add a fee for treat no transport. In a situation like the Salvation Army camp or Addison Oaks, if you put a Band-Aid on somebody, which seems to happen rather frequently, who's going to get charged for that?
Actually, that is exactly why we're doing the treat no transport for non-residents. And the reason why is because we get called to a lot of those. So if we actually service or take a set of vitals and have the person in the back of the ambulance, there's going to be a fee now.
Typically, though, if something happens at, for instance, the Salvation Army camp, I would think for their liability, they would probably have a standard policy to call whether they really think something's needed or not.
In Salvation Army, typically when they call, there actually is a 911 emergency and we're going to transport somebody because they have a nurse on staff at Salvation Army. They're not the issue. Addison Oaks is the issue.
Thank you.
Bruce, once it's here, it's not that hot. It's pretty hard.
We're still in the construction phase. We haven't put in the speakers yet, so you have to bear with us. We will have the speakers in as soon as I get the electronics working here. So you can see behind, there's a nice facade out front, but behind here it's all construction. So, John, you had a question?
Yes, on 1E, just to make sure I'm clear in my head here, that was previously, as I guess this indicates, we had 2 renewals for SADs in front of us, right? That are combined in this, I'll call it resolution, or it is a resolution, right? So that's clear in my head. And then Peninsula, again, as it reads, that they did not want to continue. Even though didn't they have a petition in front of us that never came in front of us?
No, only
Okay.
Manitic.
Yep.
They went forward with theirs. Peninsula did
I know
not.
there was some discussion when that came up.
Correct.
Okay, I'm square then. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the board?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as written.
I'll second that.
Any further comments? Not hearing any. Can we have roll call on that, please?
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
John Beamer.
Aye.
Ed Brakefield.
Yes.
Eric Sent.
Yes.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to item number 2A, Truth in Taxation Hearing. This is a hearing, this is where we only listen. This is the Truth in Taxation Hearing. The truth in taxation, the property tax millage rate proposed to be levied to support the proposed budget will be the subject of this hearing. The millage rates to be levied in 2016 will not exceed the township 1.0675, police at 3.4758, fire total rate of 2.98, for a total of the township rate not to exceed 7.52. It is now, we'll say 7:36, and I will open up the public hearing. Anybody in the public who would like to speak on this, please come forward, or just state your name and tell us what you think. Yes, go right
How
ahead.
does that compare with last,
But, could you stand up so we can hear you, because
Ellen Delator, how does that compare with last year?
that is the same.
The same?
Well, there would be minor rollbacks.
Okay.
From
I
year
just
to
wondered
year.
whether,
I mean, it's less money as far as, right? I mean, because of Headley.
Right.
Yeah. No, we have not raised them at all. Actually, have come down because of Headley. Anybody else have anything to add?
I think it's always worth noting that, oops, I'm sorry.
This is public hearing, this is
Yeah.
where we listen. Okay, if I don't hear anything else, I'll close the hearing, and we'll say it's at 7:32. This was a public hearing as required by law, and it was properly noticed. At this time, there's no action by the board on this. We'll move on to the next item. Next item is 2B, and that's a budget hearing. Once again, this is a public hearing. This is where we listen. Budget hearing, this is a public hearing for the 2016-17 budget year as required by state law. The hearing was advertised, and copies of the budget were available at the township. I'd like to open up the public hearing here, and we'll say this is a 7:32. If anybody in the audience would like to speak, please just stand up and speak on the budget. If anybody in the audience would like to speak, please come forward. This is the public hearing. Not hearing anybody. We will then close the hearing at 7:33. Later on the agenda, the board will review the budget and will adopt the budget at the March meeting, so no action is required at this time. These are just public hearings. We'll move on to item number 3, the public hearing resolution on ordinance 16-1, an ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 66, Article 1, Section 66-1 and 66-2. As we introduced last month, this was known as the super drunk ordinance and allows the sheriff's office to write under township or state law, under township law allowable funds returned to the local level. So we now can recoup some of our costs under the super drunk driving. And as you know, because this is a 93-day misdemeanor, it's above our realm, and so by doing this, this allows us to move forward on this. So I'd like to open up the public hearing at this time, and we'll say that this is 7:38. If anybody would like to speak on this is the public hearing on the ordinance. Please stand up and go right ahead.
how do you recoup your costs? I mean,
Pardon?
who pays for recouping your costs? Where does that money come? You just said you recouped some more
Yes,
costs.
what it is that when the sheriff's officers arrest somebody under the super drunk law, it allows them to recoup the cost that comes back to the township for their time and energy.
Who do they get it from?
It comes from the person that's arrested.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything to say? Not hearing any. I'd like to close the hearing then at 7:41. The board, the resolution is before you. You may adopt the ordinance tonight by approving the resolution. Is there any questions from the board?
I have a question, and
Yes.
I guess I asked the board patience because I missed last meeting and I know there was discussion on this topic at the last meeting, so, but the super drunk law as it's written, if there is an arrest in this township for someone breaking the law due to blood alcohol content level, the township, if their blood alcohol exceeds the legal limit, I'll prefer to an extra, what is it, .08 or something?
It's .08 for the
Yeah.
OWI law, but for the super drunk, it's .17 or above. They call it a high BAC.
So, but they could be arrested still and be drunk, even at that higher level, and be arrested for that, and the township would be able to recoup those under current law.
You couldn't charge them under the super drunk
law.
because it's a
Right.
93-day misdemeanor instead of a 90-day misdemeanor, and the fines and everything, and the sentences and all that are above the limit of what we can do without adopting this ordinance.
Yeah. I guess I would just add to that, I'm certainly in favor of the drunk driving laws that are out there, and I think they do need to be enforced. I just, at times, I look at a law like this and I make it akin to murder charges. When a regular person on the street gets shot dead, he's dead. When that person happens to be potentially a minority, or somebody has some true hate for that person's sexual preferences or the way they dress, it gets to be a hate, and then for some reason that murder's worse. And I think a person who's driving drunk has already used a lot of bad judgment, and I don't think they're in any better position once they're drunk and drunker that they made any worse decision. They're just likely more liable. So I just, I guess I just wonder where these laws go sometimes.
Well,
And I don't know how that helps the person in the end who happens, in this case, to be super drunk and has made poor decision on top of poor decision,
what was
how that helps her recovery.
What was happening, just because I have experience in this, what was happening is that
On the
when
law end.
you... On the law, yeah, not on the drunk end, but the law end, you're correct. On the patrol car end. What was happening is that when you arrested the driver and he's .7, you'd have to charge him under the state law. And the state law would be through the prosecutor's office or whatever, and then we didn't recoup the cost. Where if we take all that effort and we charge them under our local ordinance, all the times that our officers are spending, it could be up to 8 hours. By the time they take them to the hospital, they get the blood, they go to the jail, they, whatever, impounding the car and everything, at least we get to recoup those costs under this. And if we don't adopt this, we don't get to recoup the cost.
And I understand that. That's why I asked my first question. If the person who is drunk and has a blood alcohol content greater than this, that still gets recorded at that higher blood alcohol content, and they can get arrested under the law as it is today, as they're drunk and they're driving.
They're still going to be charged under the super drunk driving law. It's just whether or not our officers and this township is going to be able to recoup all of the time that our officers spent on that person.
So irregardless, it gets clicked up to that.
May I?
Yes.
Please.
So if we issue a citation to an individual, they're getting arrested for drunk driving, okay? And we issue them a citation. There's two ways to go about that. We can write it under local ordinance, or we write it under state law. And what that means is our local prosecutor is either going to prosecute the case, or the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office is going to send their prosecutor to prosecute the case.
I understand that.
So we had the 08 violation, and then we had the super drunk violation. Well, with the super drunk, if they were above .17, we had to, before, by law, write it under the state law, because we had not adopted the ordinance. So what was happening when someone was arrested, based on their decisions, right? Their choices they've made, their poor decisions you spoke of. Now, when that occurred, the deputy's time, which would be several hours typically in the investigation. Then they would, if they had to go for a blood draw, the hospital was billing us for the blood draw. Then the fire department, if they had to respond, we weren't able to recoup that. The attorney fees that they charged the township, we weren't able to recoup that. The towing fees, we weren't able to recoup. But now, with this, if we write it under local ordinance, we'll be able to ask the court. Now, it's up to the court whether they put that in the judgment, part of their sentencing, to pay back those fees. We have to document that and produce it to the court, and then the judge decides, makes a determination what cost recovery we get. Before, we could get up to $500, I believe it was. Now it's up to $700 that we can get. That helps us recoup the funds to ensure that the fire department and the local attorney are based in that, so it doesn't come from our taxpayers, right? We ask for that to come back.
I think I follow all that, and I think I got to the point I wanted to get to earlier with, I think Bruce has made the comment that it's automatically gets pulled up to the super drunk just by what that person blows or what their blood alcohol through blood tests shows.
Correct.
And that's not a determination that gets made locally, and if they do get pushed up to that higher level, then we no longer have the opportunity to recuperate that. And it is prosecuted by the county. So I understand it in my head. I thank everybody for their time, and I, again, apologize for not being here last time, but I understand it better.
Clarifies it now.
And thank
Okay.
you.
And does anybody else have anything? If there's nothing else, a motion would be in order.
I would make the motion to approve the ordinance 16-1.
I'll second it.
We moved in the resolution, right?
And,
Yep,
who
move the
seconded?
resolution. I did.
Ed did. Any comments, any more further comments? If not hearing any, we have roll call on that, please.
Eric Sent.
Yes.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Ed Brookfield.
Yes.
John Beamer.
Aye.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes, and that passes. Okay, we move on to item number 4 now. Request for OCTV for full funding for a collective franchise. We received a request from the commission, local TV, that we are part of, that they would like, I guess, part of the interlocal franchise agreement, which we are part of. Who is going to speak today? Yeah, Bill was going to speak? Well, go right ahead and give us a brief summation of what, why you're here and what you're asking.
Well, myself and Terry Stoutsworth, I'm Bill Services Station Manager at Oxford Community Television, and thank you for letting us have this tonight. On March 21st, 2011, Oxford Community Television addressed the Addison Township Board about the full 2011 funding for cable fees. And at that time, the board moved to split the fees 50-50 for another 12 months and review again at that time. 5 years have passed since then. No one has asked to review our fees until now. We understand that you and Oxford Township were in a recession at that time. However, since that time, you have invested a minimum of 80,000 cable franchise fees to help in your recovering from the recession, including a new building and giving your employees 2 raises within a year. In contrast, the jazz conductor of the high school asked for more cameras rather than just one for his concerts. But we can't do that. We don't have enough money for the employee hours to do it. A bowling parent wanted to cover the Oxford bowling thing, but we can't do that. Not enough money. One of the teachers wants to cover a video game program for his students. Could not do that. Not enough money. We have had at least 4 companies ask to help them to create programs about their businesses. We cannot do it, again, for not money. Last December, we had to cancel several events to not have funds for the employee hours to edit, record, and edit. Last year, we helped to get 5 sports scholarships for our Oxford students. We'd love to do more, but once again, not enough money. For years, we've only received requests for 10 to 15 copies of our government meetings every year. We'll understand that our station was not exciting for a very long time. However, due to the change that we made in the last 3 years, it now has greatly enhanced the quality, the volume of the programs at our station. Last year, we received close to 400 copy requests of our events from the communities. Our viewers are asking more local information. Local, local, local. You only get local information from the Oxford Leader and OCTV. Local information for you and your families. You cannot get local information on a dish. You will not see your children, your grandkids' choir or band or sports event at our schools. You will not see yourself on a parade or one of your government meetings. You will miss all of the events OCTV presents for your screwdrivers. However, you can watch local news and information. You can see all of local programs on YouTube or Facebook or our website on OCCTV. 7 of our television station employees are college graduates, and yet our wages are an embarrassment compared to other community public access stations and are not equal to our own township employee wages. But it's taken almost 30 years finally to be able to give our employees a little bit of a raise 2 years ago. Still, it only makes the lower end of the normal pay scale for the experience and education. We have great employees and they're fulfilling the interlocal agreement by covering local, local, local. We are asking you to help us. And Terry?
So I went through those minutes, and yes, you are legally able to keep the 50% of those franchise fees that your residents are paying. The intent of that law was written in 1984 in order for municipalities not to have to do any, pay for any maintenance on your cable lines or your cable easements. And so absorbing it into your township general fund is legal, it's allowed, and communities that don't have public access stations do that. We have, in the past, enjoyed full 50% from Addison Township, and it has been a hit to us, and we want to do more for the community. Each community wants one thing. They want to be recognized. They want recognition for their residents, for their roads. They want help. They want to be seen. And we can do all that, and we do all that. We are limited, and especially out here, we're limited. Unfortunately, we're going to have to look at what kind of hours our employees can put in each community. Last year, we covered 73 events, including government meetings, in Addison Township, 43 in Oxford Township, who fully funds us, 42 in the village of Oxford, and 13, I believe, in Leonard. So we're going to have to even that out if we can't have enough employee hours, which is what it boiled down to in December. We didn't have enough employee hours. In fact, we went over and had to rearrange our budget, and that didn't make our commission very happy. And we actually had to cancel some of the shows that we wanted to do in the community. We have 5 people in the 4 communities that want to do shows with us right now, and we just can't afford the time. Right. Oh yeah, let me just read you a list. The roads out here, I lived out here for 2 years, 2.5, right? And in that time, Rochester Road was redone. So all of us that had to drive Rochester Road ended up going down Army Road or out this way. Within that time frame, the roads became terrible. And I know I called Oakland County every single day, just personally. I wasn't working at the station at that time till the last year. I think that if Addison would have had more coverage out here on the roads, or one person assigned to this area, that might have helped the people who had to drive down those roads every day. We could have put more pressure on Oakland County. We could give you better support coverage of your library and your events at the library. We could cover more health and safety issues on Lakeville Lake. We did 1 hour on Lakeville Lake 2 years ago when I believe it was Michigan State was in here and they were checking boats to make sure there were no zebra mussels on them. I would have loved to be able to cover that extensively. There was also a meeting, Planning Commission meeting, I believe Wayne Hodges spoke up about the silt and the issues that were going to happen with the people that wanted to dredge the lake. I would love to be able to cover that and help keep that lake safe and healthy. I'd love for our staff to be able to cover it. We could give you better coverage for your parks, your volunteers, participation, security needs, and funding needs that you need for your parks, your sledding hill that you'd like to have, your baseball parks, maintenance. you would be in the forefront of everybody going, well, maybe I can volunteer my time. The Leonard Mill, the same thing. They need help, they need money. Salvation Army Camp, the Elks Club. We've covered one event in the Elks Club in the last year and a half. We need more time. We just need more time. And in order to do that, we need more money for our employees. Promotional coverage for the Strawberry Festival, the Mill, etc. That's what I have to say.
Okay, well, thank you. We do give you the PEG fees, I know that is restricted just for the cable, yeah, and I do remember that we do give you 50% of all the funds, which is the franchise fees, and we've been doing that. I don't think that we'll change that. I mean, I don't think we're going to lower that or anything. We'll keep it at that level. At this time, anybody have anything they'd like to add?
From a dollars and cents standpoint, are we in a position to talk about what those funds are? I mean, I see a line item in our budget for $26,000, and
I think that we'll have to talk, we'll bring that up at the very next item on the agenda.
Okay. I got a couple of questions. Could I direct some questions here?
No, keep them to me, please.
To you? Okay. All right. I guess my question is, how would it really help locally? I don't quite understand how the viewers are being measured, how many viewers actually in the township are looking at this. Myself, for example, I don't have cable, so I've never seen this station ever. And how many more people in townships are in the same position? So I guess my question is, how many people are actually viewing this?
Can I give you an idea?
Well, I believe what we're talking about is, 1/3 of our township is serviced, mostly Macomb County. They go to the Romeo schools, and they don't get the presentation over in the whole southwest section of the township. So 1/3 of our township ends up going towards the Romeo schools. And they don't have the cable over there, okay? So that's, I believe, what the question is.
Well, for Eric, his problem is he needs to get into your computer. You can YouTube, Facebook, and our website. You can watch all of the programs. And YouTube, we do like a program with we're trying to get interested in the historical program we have right now. So I'm going to get 300 or 400 hits on YouTube for that. That's just a guesstimate. But if you go to the Nielsen for regular television stations, that's a guesstimate too. They do like 500 people for 1 million people are checking, and they will estimate the rest of the numbers. So we can guess ourselves. When we get 100, we can guess it's 1,000 then. At the 300, we should be 3,000. That's all we can do and guesstimate that. There's no rating to do that. But your ways is you need to look at the computer and look at it. If you have grandkids or your children are playing at choirs, concerts, you can watch them. They can tell them and watch them.
Okay,
Can I answer that?
go right ahead.
Our viewership, our views increase 10,000 a year on our YouTube in every year, in 3 years. But also the franchise fees that you're looking at that you get represent the people that do have cable. That those franchise fees come out of, those people pay a certain portion of their bill for franchise fees. So you do have viewership, or you wouldn't have money coming in. So all that money that comes in are from people that actually have cable in your community.
Well, I understand what you're saying.
And I'd like to also mention...
But there's one other thing. People have the cable, but they don't always, that's a fee that they don't have any control over. They can't take that out or anything.
No, they can't take it out, but they
That
pay...
comes with the price of being able to have cable television out here.
Exactly, so that represents people in your community that have cable. And I've spoken twice with Brad Jacobson in the last week. He's working directly with whoever the cable representative that talks to the government liaisons and pushing them to get more out here in Addison Township. He just called me Wednesday. he's keeping up on that a lot. I mean, we've talked about that a lot. So that means your franchise fees that come into you will increase.
I've got a question. Procedure.
Excuse me.
From what I understand, we can't do anything with this at all tonight, just listen and talk about it because it's in our budget. We have to adjust our
That's what I'm
budget.
saying, there's another item.
Even after this item, we can't do anything. We can talk about it, but we can't do anything officially until the March meeting, correct?
This was a presentation, and that's what we're listening to, correct?
And you two, we're all friends here. Don't be nervous. I mean, good gracious. Bill, you look nervous. And
No, I like them to be nervous.
I know.
I'm nervous when they
Holy
come to
smoke.
interview me and they're calm.
they're cops. So just remember that. You're our buddies, okay? I mean, when you want to talk to us,
So true.
there's not one person up here that you can't just, hey, Ed, come here. So quit being nervous. You look nervous. So, I just want, we can't really do anything right now.
Right,
Talk
I
about it.
understand that.
Since OCTV started, I don't know how many years ago it started, being employees, I mean, you and Terry have really brought this forward so far. I enjoy watching the enthusiasm, I enjoy the shows, you guys really put your heart and soul into it, which is great. And it's another reason why this makes our decisions so much harder.
But I would wait, I would wait for public comment, and then you can speak at public comment if there's somebody that has something that they'd like to say at public comment. But this was the presentation of OCTV. Okay. Well, at this time, then, we don't need to do anything, we'll just move on right now to item number 5.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Item number 5 is township-wide road chlorating service for our public roads. This is something new that we're going to try in our budget. I proposed it last meeting that we allocate the Metro Act funds and remaining cable franchise fees for the township-wide chlorating program. As I explained to you, our citizens are already paying $16,000 out of their own pocket, and we're matching that $16,000. But it's really not doing the job to save our roads. I just came from a meeting with the road commission, and they are upping the amount of gravel we can have, but they did suggest that if we don't lock down our gravel, the gravel program is blowing away. And they did suggest that, and they have been right all along, we followed their lead. They gave us a suggestion how to improve our roads, and they have improved dramatically because we now see the proof in the pudding. We're trusting them. They haven't steered us wrong on the road. So the road commission is now telling us that we need to lock these roads down together. So after years of graveling our roads, I think it's time that we go to the next maintenance step, which is now to preserve the gravel that we're putting on the roads. They doubled the amount of gravel that we'll be able to purchase this year under the tri-party system. They went from 1 million funding now to 2 million. Last year I was able to do, as you know, during the recession, we had a windfall, and we took advantage of it when nobody else wanted. We got the gravel at half price in 2010, 11, 12, and now everybody else is caught on, so now we're all trying to share the same amount of money in the pot. So we're going to be able to do about 3 miles of gravel, I believe, this year in Addison Township. But we need to lock down what we've been doing the last 5, 6, 7 years, okay? So I'm going to open this up just for some questions, but what I'm looking for is approval of the concept for us to go out to a bidding process to see if with the funds that I'm requesting that we have enough that we can put it out to bid and then chloride all of the roads every time that they're graded. And then I'll open this up for questions.
So by letting the bids or approving the bids, we're gonna seek them so that we can find out how much it's going to cost the township to chloride the roads and then make that determination at the next board meeting whether or not we're gonna go forward based on the cost.
Yes, I need to know, I have a rough estimate just by what we're already paying and whatever, but I want to get a solid bid, put the bid process out. Maybe we can get it even cheaper, because now it's going to be one system. When they grade all the roads are gonna be done at once. It's no longer, are they gonna do 1,000 feet, then stop, and then look for their markers and do another 1,000 feet? And that hasn't helped us any. I mean, it's kept the dust down in front of people's houses that pay that money, but it hasn't gotten rid of the washboard and the eroding of our roads. So by chlorinating all of them, I think our roads are gonna be remarkably better, so. And so if we put out the bid and they do all of the roads at one time, I'm hoping that we'll get a really super price.
Well, I would like to see you move forward with that.
And I can second that.
Yeah, are you looking for support from the board?
I'm looking for a motion and a second, and then we'll vote on it.
Yeah, I make the motion then that we proceed with the bidding.
You're seconding my motion.
No.
Okay.
I seconded it.
You already
Oh, you
seconded.
seconded it. All right, you're
We got a sound system here, Bruce.
I can't hear
Well, we
you.
should go back to the old table. I can see that right now. You guys are looking at each other.
Okay,
We're reading lips.
as a clarification, that includes my arena? I guess not. Never mind.
Where's that?
No, to rust your arena, all the metal on your siding, Ed.
I'm sitting in here looking for contingent upon board approval of the budget.
Exactly, yeah.
I want to make sure that's in here. I might add that if I can't find it.
Yeah.
I thought it was in there.
We're looking for information on this
Okay.
and seeing where we are.
So I'm gonna put that one line somewhere in here though.
So your motion is that you'd like us to go forward and put the bid process out and then come back with what we think it's gonna cost.
Correct.
And we had a second on that. Any other discussion on that? We have roll call on that, please.
I have a discussion
Oh.
first.
Well, too late.
No,
Go right ahead.
because this notice says that we're gonna bring the bids back to the board next month.
Right.
So it's not where we're gonna give you an overview on whether or not we have enough money. The bids are coming back to you next month.
But before we
Okay.
approve the agenda, correct?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, I need roll call on that, please.
I'm sorry,
John
before
Beaver.
we approve the budget is what I meant to say, right?
It will be contingent, everything will be contingent upon
Right.
budget approval.
Correct.
But the bids are gonna be there. John Beamer.
That's what I thought.
Ed Brakefield.
Yes.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Eric Sant.
Yes.
Lloyd Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. Okay, that passes. We'll move on to item number 6, is the budget review. Last month, we went through this page by page of the budget, except for the fire department tonight. I believe we have the fire department again. I'm asking now, if there's any questions from the board, we can go through this page by page if you'd like. Matter of fact, we will, okay? Any questions on page 1?
Which is that? Just right here.
Okay, not hearing any. Well, how about on page 2? We'll move on to page 3. Move on to page 4. We'll move on then to page 5. Move on to page 6. We'll move on to page 7. Now, if anybody has any questions, we can ask the fire chief if he has anything he'd like to add or to explain on page 7, since we have not gone through the fire operating. Is there anything you'd like to tell us, or something we should look at? Or are you okay?
On the
with it?
operating budget, yeah, if there's any questions, the
On page
operating
7.
budget's broke down by line items. We do have a small increase this year over last year, over the overall budget. And you can, it's noted there in my packet.
You don't have a copy of the actual budget here, do you? You're looking at the,
He's
okay.
using his.
Okay, that's
which is
fine.
It's very well done, by the way.
Thank you. Exceptionally well done. Is there anything you'd like to bring to our attention that
No, just the, as you can see, each line item from, all the way back in 2013-14 to the upcoming budget, 2016-17, the numbers are there. The increases, the decreases, and the overall budget is self-explanatory.
Okay, and well, that's on page 7, then we'll move on to page 8.
I'm assuming page 8 for you is the capital budget?
No, that'll be page 9.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, we'll go on,
Page 8
it's
is
eight.
is
It's also-
capital
was it part 8?
revenues.
The revenue.
Revenue, yes. The revenue is up, right?
Correct.
Okay, we'll go on to page 9 then. That'll be capital.
As you can see, the capital budget broke down. I have turnout gear that's in there. That's a yearly expense, unfortunately. We do have to have some new pagers. That's about $10,500. We're looking at those. There's some kitchen modifications and appliance replacement at Station 1. That kitchen is used every day. Unfortunately, it's showing wear. And the dry hydrants, we have 2 locations for new dry hydrants this year, and we would like to fix the pull-in station, the pull-in area at Station 2. There's blacktop there, and the foundation is being undermined by water and erosion, so there's some repairs that have to be done there and addressed. So there's no really big ticketed items, no apparatus to be purchased for this year. Some station improvements of $5,000 a piece. That's just things that might pop up throughout the year. And we're putting away quite a bit of money for our long-term purchases of apparatus. That's the budget for the capital.
Very good. There's no question on that. We'll move on. I don't know, I think it's page 10, which is the police. We've gone through this already. Does anybody have any questions on page 10? How about page 11? We'll move on to the parks, which is page 12. Then we'll go on to parks, which is also page 13. And then I believe we had the fire department cost recovery, which is page 14. We don't have to do anything at this time. There's no action. We can move on if there's no questions. Okay, we'll move on then. Move on to, I believe we're on to item number 7A. That's a resolution for the 2016 wage compensation for the fire department. We reviewed the fire department budget, and the fire department is going to give the employees a 2% raise. I'd like to say that we have probably one of the finest fire departments. I just left this today, the OCATS meeting over in Highland Township, and it was commented how well our fire department was run, and they want to know our secrets. So our rating is the lowest. Townships that have city water and everything do not have the rating that we have. So they want to come and meet with me to find out our secret weapon, Jerry, and see why we are so good.
24 secret weapons.
So they will make an appointment to meet with me, and I'll make sure Jerry's out of town. So, anything you'd like to say on that, Jerry, on the wage compensation?
Yes, real quick, thank you for that, the opportunity. I did not feel it was necessary to give the paid on call part of the wages an increase. I opted out on that. When they do shifts at the station, that part has increased, as you can see there. So we're doing really well with our wages for paid on call when they actually go out to a call. So you know, maybe in the next few years I will address that, but other than that, we have been very tight with the generosity of the township board.
Well, you guys stuck with us when we had the hard times, and we really do appreciate your dedication. So a 2% raise, in my opinion, is not enough, but that's what I can give you and still make my budget. Okay.
With that, I think you guys it's a dedicated bunch at the fire station, and I do thank you for your service. I'd like to move forward the 216 fire department wage compensation as listed for the 2% increase according to the fire chief.
Support.
Any further comments? Hearing none, could we have roll call on that, please?
Ed Brightfield.
Yes.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
John Beamer.
Aye.
Linda Garrick.
Yes.
Eric Sant.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes, the resolution is so moved. We'll move on to 7B, which is a waive section 2-196, disposal of surplus property, and authorize the sale of the command truck on eBay for a listing fee of $125. Jerry has been using eBay, and we need, first of all, an order to waive that section, and then we need another motion to authorize the sale of the command truck and the $125 fee. Does anybody have any comments on that?
I'd like to go ahead and make that motion to waive the, what is it?
2-196.
Yes, I was looking for it, 2-196. There it is.
Support.
Any further comments on that? Not hearing any, could we have roll call on that, please?
Eric Sant.
Yes.
John Beamer.
Aye.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Ed Brightfield.
Yes.
Linda Garrick.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. Now we need a motion to authorize the sale of the command truck on eBay with a listing rate of $125.
I have a question.
Yes.
Were we going to have any involvement in the reserve this time?
Jerry?
Yes, the reserve is set in your letter before you.
It is set, I wasn't sure, it's just, that is part of what we're approving now?
$15,000, is that correct?
Yeah.
The reserve is at $15,000, right?
Okay, well, I would make the motion to sell the command truck on eBay for a listing fee of $125, with a reserve at $15,000.
We'll second that motion.
Any further comments? Not hearing any, can we have roll call on that, please?
Yes. Linda Garrick.
Yes.
John Beamer.
Aye.
Ed Brightfield.
Yes.
Eric Sant.
Yes.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes, and that passes.
Just out of curiosity, if I may, how many miles on that vehicle?
68,000 dirt road miles.
Yep.
They are better, but it's still dirt road.
Thank you. We could ask the fire chief to move on to a paved road, and maybe that would help us. Board meeting schedule and time. Look at the time here. I'm suggesting that we move the time up to 6 o'clock. I just think that everybody going home and then coming back, it might be better if everybody just comes right from work and gets down to business, and then especially in the summertime, we can be out of here by 7 o'clock, or well, if we start at 6, we'd be out of here by 6:10. So, but I'm suggesting that, and if you look at the rest of the schedule, it's pretty much the same. I don't know if that meets everybody's approval or not, but if it does, we can make a motion on that.
I wouldn't mind trying it for a year because it actually might attract more residents to come, because I know if I go home, I don't want to go back out, especially in the winter. So if I was driving by, I might stop in. So let's try it for a year and see if more people show.
We could put one of those signs out front that says, "Township meeting, 6 o'clock."
Be
there or be square, right? Okay, gotcha. Anybody have any comments on that?
we'll see, you know, I know for me, it might present some troubles at times, but it's all with planning, right?
We'll pay all the speeding tickets for you.
We can go with it.
Does anybody have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
What would
I'll
that be?
support.
I make a motion that we change the Addison Township Board meeting on the third Monday at 6 PM.
And then you approve the rest of the
And all
the meeting dates?
All the dates for the document here,
For 1 year?
for 1 year.
Yeah, we have to do this every year, so if it doesn't work, we can change it back. So we're gonna approve it as it is.
And you had a second, Ed?
No, I want to ask
I
the
did.
question before there's a second, Pauline. Did you have a chance to talk to any of the other boards like the planning commission to see if they would even consider moving that time to match the boards?
The planning commission, it's gonna be on your agenda tomorrow night.
Well, if we approve this tonight,
Yeah.
isn't that written in stone at that point? And we can't change it in the planning commission?
I think the planning commission, if they wanna change it to 6, it would be okay.
It's okay with this board? If we approve it tonight, the schedule, I will present it tomorrow. If we'd like to change it, will that cause us a problem?
I don't think so.
I can bring it back to the board in March, because I don't have to advertise it until X amount of days after our end of our fiscal year, so I can bring it back to the board in March if the planning commission does otherwise. How's that?
I'll bring it in, I'll take it to the the planning commission's attention, not as a line item, but it's just discussion.
It's on your agenda.
It is?
It's
Okay.
on your agenda, so you can just suggest if you want to change the time, because we changed it to 7 for,
Okay.
no, it's actually still 7:30, so it's going
Yeah.
to be up for discussion.
Okay.
Well, can we do the same thing on the CBA on Thursday?
You guys already changed your time, but yes, you could do the same thing. If you guys want to reconsider the time, the starting time, we can bring it back again in March. So how about our motion approve the township boards for any,
Okay,
unless there's more changes?
all right.
Well, it would just be a lot of uniformity. It'd be just like, one person could say, oh, 6 o'clock, okay.
I have an idea. Why don't all the boards discuss this and then we
back.
make a decision on this one next month? So we'll table it.
Well, how about we
can pass the
approve
boards.
ours and then let the other boards petition to us. If they would like to change it, then we'll add it on the next meeting.
Well, can we take Mr. Breakfield's comment about uniformity and that they're presenting a common time? Because I do think it would be confusing potentially to some community members to keep track. Is that 6:30 or?
Yeah.
I've got the zoning board at 7, I've got parts at 7:30, I've got fire board at 7, they're all different anyhow, so whatever they would like.
The agendas are posted here. This is posted on our website. It's also posted at this location. So it is in a lot of places, but I can understand what you're saying because it's always been 7:30. So there is going to be some getting used to even if we changed it to 7. So, yeah.
So we understand, we've had some discussion, so.
Well, the main thing is we just have to advise Ed that it's at 6 o'clock, okay? That's the main
Oh, you
thing.
didn't hear that part, John. They're gonna call me personally at like 5:30
for
to
added
say,
benefit.
get in.
Okay.
No, we're gonna make the motion for just the board meeting tonight.
Right.
And it's already been made. Pauline was about to second it until I cut in front of her.
Okay, we don't have to do roll call on those. All in favor on that, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed?
So this is effective at our next meeting.
No, it would not start until April 1st. Because these.
Oh, it's
these are-
fiscal, right.
Yeah, so
Okay.
these are approved by the fiscal year.
April 1.
Okay. Item number 9 is the temporary janitorial services and authorized letting of bids for janitorial services agreement. We received a letter from our Cindy, who is our cleaning person, and I guess she's gone on to another career or something. I'm not sure what it is yet, but I'll let you know when I know. But she put her notice in at the end of the month. She's going to be changing her career and going on to something else. So right now, I need to get somebody in here to clean. What I'm asking for is that you give me the authorization to get somebody in here temporarily until we can get some bids out and start putting some bid packages together. We know there's gonna be a little more cleaning here or whatever because of the scope of how we redid the building, but right now, I think I can put out and have somebody come in, hopefully at the same price or a little bit different, just to cover us for up to 2 months or whatever, till I can get the bids out.
I would make a motion for consideration to authorize the supervisor for a period of, I'm thinking 90 days. Do you think that's adequate to run through that process?
We already have a temporary janitorial contract because I think we're going to move a little bit quicker. This one is for 30 days, and then it also allows the supervisor, in case we didn't make that decision yet, to extend it for another 30 days. So it's like on 30 days increments, because the next thing we're going to do is approve letting them bids for a permanent.
Okay. Well, then I'll go ahead and make a motion there for the temporary service contract for the supervisor to go ahead and find somebody to clean this place up.
Okay, because that free up some of my spare time, because I've been vacuuming today.
I'll support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Any other comment? Hearing none, we'll need roll call on that, please.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
John Beamer.
Aye.
Trustee Brightfield.
Yes.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. The next part is to approve the janitorial service agreement that we have so we can let out the bids. Anybody have any questions on that?
They're pretty similar as far as the content of the temporary and the permanent one, and I'd like to move to go forward for the janitorial service agreement bid proposals.
Do we have a second on that?
I'll second it.
Do you have any discussion on that? Not hearing any, can we have a roll call on that, please?
John Beamer.
Aye.
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
Ed Brightfield.
Yes.
Lori Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes, and that passes. Okay, now, let's see what we got here. This is item number 10, if I'm right.
Yep.
This is a long meeting. It's good thing we got that clock, so we know how long it is. Thank you for putting the clock up.
Nice clock.
Anyways, pardon?
Nice clock.
Yeah, isn't it? Lori found that.
On clearance.
Yes, she's, all of you, everything you see here is used, and we have Salvation Army pictures. We did our own brickwork. I'm just telling you that in case you all want to go to Salvation Army, we picked through the good stuff, okay? So, anyways, we're on to the equipment maintenance agreement for the generator with the Cummings Bridgeway for the building maintenance account 101-265-932000. Ed did bring up a very good question last week, and I called the company at Bridgeway back, and they revised that contract, and we got a better deal, and Ed was... he had his little calculator out, and he said, I think we can do better, and he was right, we can do better. But it is important, I think, because of the amount of money we spend on that generator to make sure it works and works properly, and it is a high-tech piece of equipment, and this is the company that installs it, is the manufacturer rep, and they're the ones that want to do the service agreement. And as you notice, it comes out to, I believe, $527 per year without the battery charge on there for the 5th year or the 4th year. So it is better than what we had last time, because when Ed figured it out, it almost looked like the 5-year contract was the same as the 2-year contract last time. And I brought that up to the representative, and he said, oh.
They get their calculator?
Yeah.
Oh.
He says, oh, Ed must be on your board.
Oh.
Okay, anybody have any questions on that?
Now I'd like to move the planned equipment maintenance agreement dated 1/27/2016 for the 5-year.
Okay, and that amount is $2,801.92, is that correct, or is that,
Yes.
yes? Okay, and we had a second?
Yeah.
We have a second, any further discussion? If not hearing any, could I have roll call on that, please?
Linda Garrett.
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
John Beamer.
Aye.
Ed Brightfield.
Yes.
Roy Fisher.
Yes.
Bennett, yes. Supervisor Pearson.
Yes. Okay, now, Joe, we move on to public forum.
Yes. Does anybody else want to speak first?
Pardon?
Does anyone else?
Oh, anybody in public forum,
Oh, yeah, I'd
please?
like to say something about the cable. If you have children in high school or middle school, or like Bill had said, very beneficial. I'm trying to put stuff together right now for my 10th grader for soccer in a college program and using the tapes and stuff like that. Very beneficial. I just wanted to bring that up to the board with that. And the generator maintenance contract, smart idea. We didn't have that at the station for a while. We're running into problems now, so good idea with the maintenance program.
Thank you. Anybody else? Go right ahead.
Can I just ask that when you, in March, and you are thinking about those cable franchise fees, you're making those decisions for the people that are actually paying those? And just keep that in your mind, because there are people in this community that do pay those franchise fees, and that's where they're coming from, rather than paying for those card.
Is this not just cable, but also AT&T?
AT&T or Charter.
Or Charter?
Depends on which you
Is
have.
there other services that people have?
There are, but we don't get the franchise fees from them. Like Dish, are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't get franchise fees.
The only ones that you're
Charter and
chartering is
AT&T.
Charter, that's those two.
Right.
That's what I thought.
That's what funds us and keeps us going.
Joe's up.
Thank you, sir.
I gotta stand up to talk. Uh-oh.
Go to the podium.
Yeah, there it is, right here. Okay, I'm not privy to what your real budgets are. I have no idea what it is. But I am very familiar with Oxford Community Television. And my wife got very excited when one of the older women that we bring Meals on Wheels to, she says, I feel like I'm in solitary confinement. She's 95 years old. She can't get out. She really loves people, and I felt very bad about that. And my wife felt so bad about that, she decided, I'm gonna get that millage, that quarter mill, done again. That's been, it got beaten twice. A quarter mill to support the North Oakland
Just say no.
Transit Authority. Okay? So she went out and started getting petitions. And one of the fellows that we delivered Meals on Wheels to, he went out and got some petitions. The guy is got cancer. He can barely drive. He has to drive all over down to Detroit, but he got a whole page full of them. So then we went to NODA and says, we have these pile of petitions, signatures. So they said, I said, how many more do we need? They asked Pat, and she said, she has, how many more do I need? They said, you have enough. We will try to get it on the ballot, but you probably need more information out. So what they said is, go to Oakland Community Television, and they will help you, okay? And that will make a big difference. So, what she did is she went to these Oakland community people, and they interviewed us. Well, Terry was the one that interviewed us. Now, I've talked to a lot of interviewing people and so forth, and I was really impressed with her ability to interview. Now, other people were impressed with her ability to interview because she got a 4th statewide accommodation for excellent work. I've worked with Bill for a long time. I know him. If you want to talk to somebody, talk to Bill. Now, there's Roland over there, I believe. Russell, I'm sorry. This is another guy. See that smile? You're going to see that every time he's interviewing anybody. Now, I went to the office and I took a look at it and I said, boy, this place is austere. How these people could do anything good with this particular situation. But they do. And if you look at here's the paper of the things that they do. 7 o'clock in the morning, minute by minute, 7:30 Tai Chi, 8 o'clock rise and shine, yoga, and on and on and on, all day long, till 11:30 at night. Terry's the one that sets that up, I believe, right?
Our program schedule is done by Jim Hughes.
By who?
Jim Hughes, I'm the the production manager.
I see. Who sets it up?
Well, Bill's running the station.
Anyway, if there's anything you want, it's probably in there. Now, I understand budget problems, and I understand what Bruce is trying to do. The roads are important. But somewhere along the line, I feel maybe we could squeak a way to help these people along, because they do one heck of a job. That's it. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else on public forum?
You're in.
Oh,
sorry, Bruce.
the sergeant's got something to
Well,
say.
there was something I wanted to mention earlier about you brought up the cost to some people when they make a mistake, and sometimes they're not able to come up with that money, and we're double dipping, we're hitting them hard, right?
That wasn't my point of
Well, no, in my head, that's what I was thinking was that, but I wanted to make it clear that not only can we ask the courts for reimbursement, but what's really important, and Bruce and I sat down and talked about this, was the community service. We went from 90 days to 180 days of community service that we can ask for in lieu of funds if someone's not, if they're indigent and they're not able to pay. We'll be able to say, hey, come to our community, and do some work around the parks or so on and so forth.
No,
clean
Bruce
up.
knows how to use that.
Right. So we can ask for that too.
Yeah, and I will tell you, we have a young man that's been in here for the last couple of weeks, and he has done a fantastic job from the court. He has put all the shelving and put stuff together. He helped me put this all together. I told him we should put him on the payroll, but not till he does his community service time first, because that's free. So it has been a great help to us, and actually, he likes to, he sees what the government's like and everything, and we're personable, and now he realizes that we're not to be feared, we're friendly, so I think that's part of his rehabilitation also. So anyways, it is a great thing, so thank you.
I don't want to be mistaken, because I didn't mean that at all from the standpoint of how you presented it there. But my point is how the person's already made a bad judgment call, and there needs to be punishment there. I just didn't necessarily understand the funding side of it, which we straightened out, and the need to do that. Secondly, the aspect of it is, again, that person's already made a bad call by getting behind the wheel after being intoxicated. They're no better off even when they're more intoxicated to make a better decision. It's kind of where I was going with that, and yet we're, as a state, they passed that law. I think that's goofy still.
So basically, it's just a change in the wording of the law is what it is, and we have to update our traffic code.
Exactly.
And that's all that it's really amounted to. Right.
So goofy judgment out of Lansing.
How about Addison Township Board reports? Anybody? Ed?
We've got a board meeting tomorrow. Anybody interested, show up.
See if you can handle that 6 o'clock thing for us.
I will. I'll bring it up.
Okay, there.
It'll be taken care of.
Anybody else?
CBA meeting on Thursday?
6 o'clock, see if you want to get, there you go, so we're all set.
7 this time.
Oh, but see if you can get it changed, let us know. Legal reports, we don't have any legal reports. Communications, any communications? No communications. Supervisors report. I went down to the road commission. We had a meeting down at Beverly Hills concerning Rochester Road between Gerst and Boardman. It is going to be done. It's starting in June. There's going to be a detour, and of course, once again, it's going to be from June till whenever they get it finished, and they're talking like October or something to get that finished. There's some extensive work there to bring it up to code for the federal funding, so they really have to do some...
North of Leonard?
north of Leonard there, from Gerst Road, which is the township, the village is responsible up to Gerst.
How's the bike trail look on that?
I argued with them, and we're going to get probably close to the same as what we had. I asked them for an extra foot, because I said a foot would make a huge difference. They're discussing that at this time. They had objections to it because they don't want to move the center line, but I said, just make the other side a foot less, because it's going to be 3 feet, and I said, just make that one 2 feet and ours bigger on the other side. So they are discussing that. Mike McDonald from the village went with me, and he reiterated that we do want that bicycle path on the side, and they won't,
I don't know what we have to do as a township, because we certainly made a point with them and negotiated a bad compromise, I think, for the township a few years ago, and I know I brought it up to the board
and they refused,
3-4 months ago.
They refused to call it a bicycle path. And no matter what I tell them, they refuse to call it a bicycle path.
Your comment of them using federal funds mandates them
I explained
to
that
put in a bicycle trail, right?
I explained that to
And
them.
if they aren't doing what they're supposed to do and they want federal funds, well then, I would like to see this township hold their feet to the fire with a little more than, I'll call it meeting conversation, and almost issue a mandate to them in letter form.
What I will tell you is they are having a meeting here, okay, and I have the date. It will be announced. I think everybody just got their letters today in the mail. There's a meeting that will be held where it's actually at the Leonard Elementary School, and I think it's the end of this month, is it not? And it's going to be up at the Leonard Elementary. I would encourage everybody to go, and everybody explained that we want a bicycle path. You and I fought that battle last time, and the same people that you and I stood out there in the middle of the winter and argued with are the same ones that don't want to put it in again. It's the same ones that Mike McDonald and I argued with too. So my thing is we need to argue at that meeting that this is what we're requesting. They know how we feel about it. I'm going to give them time to digest it, because I did blast them the last time. I said the road commission, I requested that they not put the same supervisor on the job that we had here, because I said some of the supervisors from the road commission forget where they get their paycheck from, and it's from the citizens of Oakland County and Addison Township, and they should be representing us and not the people who are constructing the road. So they should not get buddy-buddy with the contractors. They should be representing us. So they know how I feel, and Mr. McDonald and I left out of there at that tone with them, so they do understand that they assured us there will be a different supervisor up there, and that, and like I said, we reiterated our bicycle path up there, and it's important to us. So I would suggest that they have this much time to think, and let's see what they say when we get up to the meetings there. I will be there.
And I guess I would ask that we solicit our township council, Mr. Davis, and get him involved and have him write a letter. And I would like that to be, if you can't agree to that now, I'd like that part of the agenda for next month's meeting, please, as an item that we debate and discuss.
Well, let's hear what they have to say at the end of this month, and then we'll have it on next month's agenda.
Please,
and I
thank you.
think I'm in agreement with you. You can ask Mr. McDonald how we ended the meeting there. And like I said, they work for the citizens of Oakland County, and they need to be reminded of that. We have an excellent foreman out here, and Chris Dow, and we trust him exclusively, and that's how the rest of them should be, and we reiterated that, so thank you on that.
We lost, even on the, I'll be quiet after this, but I mean, they put our first lot striping down on the road, and then they got that about right, and then the next time they did that in the curves, we lost a foot, right up here just north of town. And I personally, I see a fair number of people using that limited space that there is. The county had a lot of consultation with this township on that 2 years ago. Shame on them for getting it. Shame on them for using federal funds and not doing what they should be doing with them. So I don't know what they're doing with that money. Right?
I'll tell you, 2 years ago, we were supposed to have that road done, and they absconded with the money. Last year, that road was supposed to be done, and for whatever reason, they didn't come in budget down on Tinkin and Livernois, and they absconded with our money again, and it ended up down at Tinkin and Livernois. This year, I went down there, and they're not absconding with our money, okay? So we are gonna get our road done, and I think that's an issue you and I can take up with them when we get to that meeting, so. Okay,
I'd like to follow up with John's. Now that John has made it official that he's concerned about the health, safety, and welfare of the bicyclists, it would be very dangerous for them not to put it in. Now he's made it official to this board that he's concerned. This board then would be...
Well, that's their argument though, Ed. Their argument is it's not a bicycle path. They will tell me that over and over and over again, and I know why they tell me that, because they don't want to be liable.
They have engineering standards that they're not meeting.
I agree, but they don't, that's the gist of it. That's why when we go to the meeting, we need to make sure that our voice is heard on that. But they do not want to call it a bicycle path, and they refuse to call it that. And that's our difference.
Why don't we call it a pedestrian path?
They don't want to call it that either.
It's a shoulder.
We need to get with the times and federal law.
Well, look, in your mailbox, I think there's one, and everybody got one, I think, 'cause Doc Murray was in today, he said he just got it, and I haven't checked my mail, but I think it's in the mailboxes today, so. Yeah. Okay, thank you. That's a battle you and I'll fight again, you know. Let me see, I'm still on this, let me see, tree cutting, I did get it, we gotta have another grant, you see them out cutting, I called Michael Chesko, we got another grant, I told him particularly to do the Lake George, Oakwood area, all the way over to Hosner, that was one bad area. As you noticed down Lakeville, they have done a terrific job, they've gone up and down, that whole area is cleared out of there. I told them, I said, cut the trees, don't get the little clippers out and do the leaves and stuff. I said, actually cut the trees, so they are cutting the trees, and I haven't had any citizens complain, so apparently I think people are happy that we have not been out of electricity, we have improved everything, and so we're trying to do that. The other thing is, MMRMA, we did get our new insurance rate. The insurance rate this year is $53,209. Jerry was with me there. In our negotiations, we increased the amount for the building by a tremendous amount now because of the new building and the replacement cost. Jerry increased it because of the new equipment and tankers and whatever he has. But the good news is that our asset allocation, the money that we're getting back, because Jerry's been so good, is $45,394. So we will be insuring this township for about $8,000, which is pretty remarkable.
Well, mostly because the state has been good.
The state has been good, well, that was only part of it, but MMRMA has been exceptionally good too. So, anyways, that was one thing. The building. The preliminary amount for the building is, you know, you gave us $156.75 to complete the building. We added 100 and some odd $1,000 worth of extras. But lo and behold, we still, even after everything, we came in at $155 a square foot. So this building complete, I know, John, you authorized us to spend $2.4 million if we needed to. I think complete with everything, I can't see of anything else being added on here. That came to $707,000 complete. So, pardon? 1 million, I mean, yeah. 1 million.
We're good.
Yeah, $1,707,000 complete. So, I think that we did very, very well. Last Friday was the day that Rewalds pulled out of here until the spring when they could do the parking lot and the outside painting, but basically, they've completed just about 99% of everything, so we had a little cake for them and thanked them for, it was a pleasure working with them. I can't say how much we really did appreciate Rewald because they were here every day. They didn't let us down. They fixed everything and they solved every problem. So I'd have to give them a great thank you. So.
Big thing.
Yeah. So anyways, that's all I have to say, I think, as far as the supervisor's report. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
Hey, wait a minute.
Are you in public forum or what? What?
I want to know if you're going to put anything where some of those real steep hillsides where they trimmed all those trees off. There's bare dirt now because there was so much shrubbery and trees.
Are we going to, I'm sorry, where?
Is anybody going to do it? Because
where
it'll
is
wash
this?
right into the road, all along Lakeville Road where those steep banks are.
Well, they didn't take the ground cover out.
But they took the bushes out, and under the bushes there wasn't any grass. The bushes won't grow, the roots won't hold. You're gonna have a problem, if not this year, next year.
Well, we'll
What
have
we
to
need
look
to
at
do
that.
is put in some clover or something that'll hold the soil.
We'll look at that, I'll take a
Okay,
look.
you
up
might
on-
be able to get a grant to do that. It's definitely gonna wash, it's almost straight vertical.
We'll definitely look at that, and I'll contact Road Commission, actually part of that by
Okay,
their side,
good.
so we'll see what they say. I know that they'll probably put in some of those invasive species probably, if it was up to them, because they have them everywhere else, you know, but we don't want those, right, Joe? So, anyways, other than that, anybody, we do a motion for adjournment?
I'll make that motion.
I second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Next meeting is what? March what? March 18th?